Welcome, everyone. We're delighted to have participants from different parts of the world, whether you're joining us live or watching us later on. We thank you for being with us for another session of the Spiritist Talk series, promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation, held every Saturday at 11 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. It is my pleasure to host today's talk presented by Alba Morales, who will be speaking on the topic Peace in the World Begins with Me. Let's all give Alba a very warm welcome. But before we begin, allow me to briefly introduce her. Alba Morales has a bachelor's degree in psychology and pedagogy from Universidad Pedagógica Nacional and a master's degree in education from Pontificia Universidad Jave- Javeriana, both institutions from Bogota, Colombia. She has been working in education for more than 30 years and has been involved with different age groups, working with workshops, classes, conferences, and many other areas. Currently, she works as a school, community, and family specialist for the Anne Arundel County Public Schools in Maryland and as an adjunct faculty for Anne Arundel Community College. Ms. Morales is an active member of the Spiritist Society of Baltimore since 2006 and has been coordinating their children and youth Spiritist education program. Please feel free to send your questions at any time during the presentation using the chat window. Alba has set aside time at the end to address your comments and questions. Alba, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Brad, and thank you for that welcoming, very loving welcoming. And thank you, all of you, for being here. And today, more than a presentation, we are here to do an invitation, to reflect about our very own actions, thoughts, and words on how we can contribute to peace in the world. That's basically it. It's an invitation. So allow me to share my screen here. So we have the presentation that you can follow. Here we are. Here we go. And the title of this presentation is Peace in the World Begins with Me, which is in between quotations because that is a sentence, an affirmation from a song composed by Nando Cordell 20-something years ago in Brazil when the medium Divaldo Pereira Franco, he started a movement that is called the Peace and You movement many years ago. However, Divaldo was here in October of 2008 for the first Peace and You movement in the United States of America, and it was local here in Baltimore. So after that event, we have the song translated into English, and we were going to listen to the song at the end of this presentation. But we would like to say that the inspiration that we got for this invitation is from this very first event that you can find now all the talks because there are different guests, Gary H. Shoreward, Zohara Meyerhoff, Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Proctor, General Jorge Godinho, etc. in this book. I don't know if you can see it or not. One more second there. That is called Transform Your Health with Inner Peace. So most of the ideas are from this book. And also because from October of last year to February of this current year, a group of 19-20 monks, Buddhist monks, they start this revolution, peaceful revolution. They were walking for peace from Texas, a town in Texas. They walked to Washington, D.C., just walking for peace. And we're going to get to know more about them. So to start, we definitely need to start with the foundation of peace. We have the Prince of Peace, which is Jesus, our role model, the governor of planet Earth. And this is a painting by Acchiani. And in John 14:27, we found, I leave you peace, my peace I give you. I don't give it to you as the world gives. What do you mean, Jesus, that you're not giving us the peace as the world is giving us peace? Because it's a different peace. So we are coming to the question. So then, where is peace? Jesus is talking a piece of the world and a peace that he's giving us. So what is peace? Peace is the end of war. Peace is the absence of war. Peace is a government arrangements or government laws that is assuring the peaceful life of its citizens. Peace is when I am home, relaxing, and nothing serious happen. What is it? What is it? Because we need it. We need true peace. We're going to check out what is it and what's the peace that Jesus is giving us that the world can't. So in this book that I already mentioned, there is the question that Divaldo posed to all of us, and he said, it is possible to think about peace in a transitory world that is undergoing constant transformation, meaning we are in a transitional phase for the planet Earth, talking about our spiritual moral evolution. We are moving from this world of trial and expiations to a world of regeneration in which there is going to be peace, there is going to be happiness, and good or goodness is going to prevail over evil, evil as an ignorance of doing good. It doesn't mean that evil or bad things are going to disappear. It's like we are going to the next level. So in this chaotic world, it is possible to think and to have peace. So he says, yes, it is possible if we connect ourselves to the power source, if we harmonize our mind, body, and emotions, we will live in peace. So who is the powerhouse, or what power source, or what is the power source? It is God, it is the universe, it is the eternal love. It doesn't matter the name. There are no name for God in the human language. We cannot comprehend it yet. But when we connect with the source that create our spirit, that is embedded in us, we have that seed of love in our spirit. When we give ourselves the time to feel the immense love, because God only wants our happiness, our progress, our good. But we are so busy in our day-to-day lives that we don't listen that voice. So we need to center ourselves. We need to come to a place in which is quiet. Oh, but I don't have time to do that. I'll beat the speed. I have too many things to do. 2 or 3 minutes per day. That's all what we need. 1 minute, if we have it. Just sitting somewhere, breathing, and being quiet, and let that silence come over us. We're going to practice this here, or at least we're going to show you how to do it. So in the same book, Divaldo continues saying that to get to that state, as Buddha, we misspelled Buddha here, used to say, compassion is necessary. What is compassion? Compassion is a word that derives from the Latin compati. Compati means suffer with. So let us check. Yes, and the definition is to suffer together. It is far and beyond empathy, and is far and beyond charity. It's because I, in my whole being, I feel your pain, your sorrow, your struggle, your difficulty, and I want to do something about it to ease that burden. With this feeling of compassion, a huge caring feeling toward our neighbors grows within us, an uncontrollable desire to help them, because our happiness becomes the happiness of others. This morning we were reading about the life, a short biography of Sister Dulce. Sister Dulce was a nun that lives in the 1930s in Brazil, and at the age of 18 years old, she entered the convent and she started serving as a girls' teacher. But walking, I think it's in Bahia, please forgive me if I don't remember the city. So walking on the street, she saw beggars, she saw people dying on the streets. It's pretty much like the Mother Teresa of Brazil. So she started bringing all the sick, all the people that they were living on the streets to the hen house in her convent and clean their wounds and give them her food, give them her bed. She didn't possess anything. She gave it everything to the ones who were suffering on the streets. She only possessed her habits, right? Her clothes. That's pretty much it. And with time, people hear, oh, there is this nun, she's helping everybody, and more people came. So other people capture interest, start supporting the project financially speaking. She found an empty, deteriorated building, and she founded there a hospital that with the time started growing, but she continued with her same lifestyle, and she continued with the same compassion for those who were left behind and couldn't, and she put them in a place in which they can find the relief to discarnate or the place to recover from an illnesses. So she never asked anything in return. Even she was sick, she was ill, she continued working day and night with no complaint, sleeping on a chair. That's what the biography says. So by age of 70, she acquired a lung disease, and also because of the long hours of work. So she needed like this respiratory device to get oxygen, and she was hospitalized in the hospital that she founded. And even though she was bedridden and with this respiratory device, she still was thinking about the happiness and the well-being of others. So she knew that there weren't enough respiratory machines in the hospital, and there were some other people with more possibilities of recovery than her. She knew she was getting to the end of her days on planet Earth. So she asked the doctors to unplug her from the respiratory machine, give it to someone else. They deny. They say, no, sister, we cannot do that. And she says, it's okay. It is okay. They unplug her. She didn't discarnate at the moment because we know she was having the spiritual support, very likely passes a lot of things, but eventually she discarnated, giving and donating even the last breath of oxygen to others. Peace and compassion. So to understand better, how can we acquire this peace in our minds? We will become Sister Dulce or Mother Teresa if eventually by practicing, right? It is practicing and practicing as we ride a bike or whatever we want to do. So there is the story that of the muddy water, but it's about a Buddhist, Buddha story. And it's to see how can we clear our mind in 1, 2, or 3 minutes a day. This will bring benefits to our mental health, to our physical health, and to our spirit. So it was Buddha walking, going from one town to another with his disciples, and they went to a place to rest that was nearby a lake. And he asked his youngest and more impatient disciple. And we were thinking, why the youngest and more impatient? Usually, the younger we are, the less patient we have. And this is true not only for the biological age, but for our moral age. How impatient we are is telling us how young we are in the spirit or in the spiritual development. So Buddha was thirsty and he asked his disciple, hey, go to the lake and just fetch me, a cup of water. He goes, but when he goes, it was other people in the other side crossing the lake in a shallow part with a pair of oxen. And, when they were crossing, the water became muddy. All the sediments that were back in the bottom of the lake, it contaminated the water. So this disciple returned and said, Master, I can bring you water. It's all muddy. And he said, okay, we're going to wait. They wait an hour. Here goes again the disciple. The water is muddy. He returns and he said, you know what? Let me go to the nearby town. They have clean water. I will bring it to you. And Buddha said, no, we're going to sit here and we're going to wait. And the disciple by the time was already annoying, well, I can use this time to go to the town, bring me water, and it's the end of the story. The disciple goes 3 more times, and every time the water is still muddy. So by the last time, Buddha says, okay, just go. And he was like, what's the point? What's the point of doing this? He goes, and the water is clear, and he fetched a cup of water for Buddha, and Buddha, in his wisdom, says, oh, my student, what did you do to clean the water? And the student was, I didn't do anything, Master. And Buddha say, oh, but you did. What was it? What I did? You wait. You wait for all the sediments to go back to the bottom of the lake, and then you have a clear cup of water. So that's our minds, dear friends. Our minds are like a muddy water with the day-to-day things that we are doing, with all the social media, things that we receive, the news, the responsibilities. And then when we say, I'm going to pray, I'm going to meditate, it is like we can settle. The invitation for us, if we are not doing this yet, it is to sit for 2 or 3 minutes and do nothing. Breathe and wait. And we do it today, and we do it tomorrow, and we do it the following day, and the following day, and the following day, until the mind is clear. But where we were respecting then. Okay, so prayer is when we talk to God. We use words, we use images, we ask God, we praise Him, we give thanks. But meditation, which is the invitation to help us to center and to find our inner peace, is sitting and listening to God. And for do that, we need to clear the waters of our mind. So once the waters of our mind is clear or are clear, therefore We improve the practice, and we find this temple inside of us that is going to protect us if we are vigilant and take care of the noise of the world, of the bad news or the news that are fake news or the drama that is going on in the neighborhood's house, whatever it is. And that's how we see people like these monks, that they seem like nothing is uh, taking them off of that centeredness. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, these Buddhist monks, they decide to do this walk for peace for the sake of walking for peace, no hiding agenda. They started very quietly, still silently in Texas, walking, and little by little, social media people were capturing attention, and they have a Facebook page. It's called Walk for Peace, and the dog that we see here, this dog is a rescue dog from a country in Asia, and the dog has been walking with them a lot in different countries, because they are doing this in different countries. As right now, they are walking in Sri Lanka, doing exactly the same. And it is awakening conscious around peace. So in their journey, they found people that they were very receptive, and they joined for little pieces of the journey. They walk with them, or they gave them fruit, or they applaud them, encourage them. There were some other people that they weren't happy with the monks walking, and they were defiant, and they were insulting them and throwing at them things, and they remained calm. They didn't took like a personal offense. There is actually a video of a person being very aggressive, verbally aggressive towards them. And the first monk that is not picturing this picture, that is the leader, he kept it quiet. He was serious, no smiling. And he said, we understand you think differently. We are just walking. Allow us to walk. And the person just go and cut him and say, no, but you understand, you need to be safe. So this person was a person with some religious fanaticism. So the whole aggressive behavior was based in that this person thought the souls of the monks were going to hell or something like that. You just go to the Facebook and check the video. But the monks, they didn't felt threatened. They didn't react with aggression. They act and they say, we come in peace. We respect you. But this is the way that we are behaving, and we are creating peace in the world. So we took one excerpt from their reflections, because usually first time in the morning, they wake up, they pray, they have a reflection, they post it in Facebook, and they're beautiful. So they say, the moment we stop running, stop letting our mind chase 1,000 things at once, and simply pause to breathe with awareness, to act with mindfulness, something miraculous happens. Peace reveals itself, not as something we found, but as something that's been holding us this whole time. May you and all beings be well, happy, and at peace. And this very last sentence, they repeated over and over as a mantra. So because we are God's creation, we are children of God, We have love inside of us, and therefore we have peace too. It's a matter of doing a little bit of quiet, inner quiet, letting the mental mood to go down to the bottom. So, how can we clear our mind from the mood? There are several things. We mentioned prayer, talking to God, meditation, which is listening to God, centeredness, which is daily affirmations, because we need to, to have a program for our mind. And usually we have this negative self-talk, usually. Like, look how I wake up this morning. Oh, my hair. And we are in this inner conversation with ourselves, and we are very harsh and very mean with ourselves. So we need to substitute that negative inner conversation with daily affirmation. You know, I am love, I am alive, I am capable of reaching my goals. Oh, look how well I look in the mirror today. You look well. Why? And actually, in psychology, there is something that's a parenthesis. When you look at yourself on the mirror and you give yourself a high five, it creates the same chemical effect like as someone else is telling you, oh, great, high five. So we can do that with ourselves, loving ourselves. This physical vehicle that is marvelous, that is fantastic for us in this current reincarnation, loving our spirit, our mind, and being happy with our own company, centeredness. Cleansing of emotions and negative thoughts by doing nothing. And sometimes when we're in the midst of problems and situations, we want to reach out for help and we want to do a lot of things, but sometimes the best way is just to nothing. It doesn't mean that we're not going to take action or we're not going to move and trying to fix the problem using our intelligence and our resources. It means that I'm going to take a time to center, to relax, and to think and to connect with my spiritual mentors because they are guiding us and providing us with inspiration. They will never tell us what to do, but they will guide us. And we decide if we want to take their advice or not, because we have free will. Vigilant self-observation, meaning taking care of our inner peace. Setting boundaries. It doesn't mean that we are mean people. It means that we are respecting ourselves and holding the water of peace in our mouth. And this is an image from the book Our Home by Andre Luis. And in the movie, we can see it, No Solar, Our Home, when Andre Luis is in the hospital and in the next bed is this other spirit, this other patient that doesn't stop talking. And the poor Andre Luis is trying to sleep, to rest, and the other patient is like, so the mentors, the nurse mentors, they notice this and they also want to help. So they ask the individual to drink a cup of water, but instead of swallowing, just to hold it in the mouth. And the nurse, the mentor say, just keep it there as long as possible. So if your mouth is full of water, how you're going to express yourself? We can do the exercise with our imagination. And when we feel threatened or when someone is taking us off, because we are humans and we have emotions, the important thing here is to act, not to react with the same energy, because we are not going to get to a conversation or dialogue. We are going to get to a fight and an antagonism. So we hold the water of peace imaginarily, and then we take action. And the word peace is true when we are saying text message, sending text messages or emails, just oof, hold it. Let the limbic area of our brain calm down and let the frontal cortex take care of the situation with our executive functions. So we're going to wrap up and with the UNESCO Constitution. UNESCO stands for the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. It was founded after the Second World War, and the headquarters are in Paris. And actually, in the book, Transform Your Health with Inner Peace, Divaldo Franco mentioned this. So this is a very nice information. Peace based exclusively upon the political and economic arrangements of governments would not be a peace which could secure the unanimous, lasting, and sincere support of the peoples of the world. Peace must therefore be found, if it is not to fail, upon the intellectual and moral solidarity of mankind. Intellectual and moral solidarity. We learn through Joanna de Angelis, through Emmanuel, that there are two wings that are going to expedite our growing from humans into angels, the next level. And one wing is our intellectual development, and the other one is our moral development. So then, in the 2000 UNESCO manifest, they established a proposal for peace and no violence. There are 6 items for the construction of peace in the world. Respect life in all forms. Reject violence, but not with violence, right? Maya Angelou mentioned this. We cannot expect peace if we are responding with violence and aggression. Be generous with our surplus and even with the things that we need but we can share. Generous with time, generous with our skills. Listen to comprehend. Truly listen. No pretending I'm listening, but I'm preparing my answer in my mind. No, it's like I want to listen to you. Preserve the planet, love our planet, and rediscover solidarity, because we cannot move forward by ourselves. We are a gregarious race or animals, if we want to say from the biological point of view. We need a community to grow. So then, how? By center myself, by acquiring peace to myself, I am going to impact or I'm going to do something for peace in the world. Well, we know that we live in this invisible thing for the human eyes that is called the universal cosmic fluid that we can compare with a huge pool. So if I am in one end of the pool, just relaxing, not doing anything, but in the other end of the pool, someone is just jumping and making a splash, eventually the waves of that splash is going to reach me, right? So the same happened with our minds, the powerful dynamos that we have in our spirit, Joanna de Angelis says. So the more we think, the more we act, the more we express words of peace, action of peace through compassion, thoughts of peace, positive thoughts. We are influencing this pool, the universal cosmic fluid, and we are generating an impact around us. And people will feel it. Sometimes people will say, okay, it's so nice to be in your company. I don't know what is it, but it's nice. So this is one way in which we can create peace in the world, working in ourselves. So we're going to move now to the song that we're going to use it as a final prayer. The song is called Peace for Peace. The author is Nando Cordell. And I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to ask the people in the technical area to play it. So I'm going to read first. Peace in the world begins with me. When I choose love inside, I'm truly happy. When we are kind to one another, we know true love and greatness in our hearts. The time has come for building peace on earth. We don't believe in the lack of love. Peace for our children, peace for our forests, peace for peace and for the courage to transform. Peace for peace in truth and justice, peace for peace and inner freedom, peace for peace and in the beauty of loving you. So we are going to finish with this. Whenever you're ready to play the song, please. Thank you, dear friends. So I think we're moving now for questions or comments.
Thank you ever so much, Alba, for sharing your insightful reflections with us today and the beautiful music. Please, everyone, stay with us for the Q&A session, which will begin shortly after just a few announcements. We invite you to follow us on our social media channels to stay updated on upcoming events and activities. And don't forget to visit the United States Spiritist Federation bookstore at spiritistbooks.us, where you'll find a wide selection of Spiritist books, including several exciting new releases. Be certain to check out a wonderful new release entitled Joan of Arc, Medium by Leon Denis. And if you work with Spiritist youth or are interested in educational resources, be sure to explore the Family, Youth, and Children Spiritist Education, FYCSE, website at spiritismkids.us, where you'll discover excellent materials and ideas for youth educators. And please take a few moments to check out the Be My Hope app, which offers inspiring daily messages to uplift your spirit. It's very helpful and is available for free on both the App Store and Google Play. So let's now turn our attention to your comments and questions. There's still time to send in yours, so please feel free to share your thoughts. And from the U.S. Spiritist Federation, can we ever know the balance on the scales of peace versus disorder?
Hmm. Thank you for the question, but I'm not sure what it will be the background for the question. Where is that coming from, right? But on the scale of peace versus disorder, I will say that definitely yes, we will know as we have our intellectual abilities, our free will, and our sense of knowing what is right from wrong, right? So definitely we will know what is something is peaceful versus what is something it is not. By the same token that we know again what is something is right and something is wrong. Because in the Spirit's book, we forgot the number of the question. They say, where is the love of God writing? And it is in our conscience. So, and also all of us, all human beings, we have the loves of God in our conscience, but also dependent of our moral evolution, that for some people they will find peace in a concert, right? That is very loud and noisy, but they feel peace there because they like the music and being with other people, etc. And some other people prefers to go for a walk in nature where there is no human beings around, just nature, the song of the birds, etc. And it also has to be with individuality, with characters. But it is basically when we are judging what is peaceful or not for us.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And from Yasuko Arakawa. Hi, dear Alba. Great subject. Buddhism and other Eastern teachings with emphasis in compassion acts are punctual in the modern Western cultures. How to develop compassion in this case to enhance chances for peace?
Compassion comes from the point in which I am understanding that I am not the only or the last beautiful beverage in the world. I don't want to mention the beverage, but there's a saying in Spanish that say, oh, you are this last beverage in the world. Okay. Compassion comes by recognizing that I am surrounded by others and that others, these other people, they have needs. And again, it's coming from a point of moral development. So if we compare our moral development with the biological, intellectual development of humans, children, they're very selfish. They are centered in themselves, and the world revolves around themselves because they don't have the brain capacity to see beyond that. A toddler, it is super selfish. But because of the toddler doesn't have the brain capacity to be compassionate towards others or to share toys, it doesn't mean that we're not going to teach this toddler how things are going to be later. So basically, just go with, I think that is by practicing. First, by educating children and youth. So we are creating a culture and a community that thinks alike, feels alike. And second, by teaching ourselves, by forcing ourselves. Like I wasn't lifting weights a year ago, but now I'm lifting weights. But at the beginning, it was so difficult. I needed to push myself to do it. And the more I do it, the easier and the natural it becomes. But the first step is basically forcing myself to do it and practicing. And we will fail, but we continue doing. Failing doesn't mean that is a total disaster. It means that we are learning and we know how to do it better next time. And thank you, Jessica. It's good to see you through this mean.
Thank you. Very, very helpful advice. For the U.S. Spiritist Federation, is aggression and hostility negative energies, or are they behaviors that are carried by an incarnate from a previous existence?
We humans are the ones who bring aggression, hostility, and peace and love to the world. So as a humans, we know that the spirit, we carry all these learning or practices. So let's put a point on time. Let's say in Jesus' time, we didn't, as a human race, we didn't develop yet the compassion and thinking about my neighbor, because that's where Jesus came to taught us, right? So if I dissent from my neighbor, it was easy to use my sword and cut his head, and that's the end of the story. And I don't feel guilty, I don't feel remorse, I don't feel anything, because that's the level of evolution of my spirit. And I think, okay, I did good. This is my power, my sword. And here you come, you're going to talk with my sword. And we carry these habits from incarnation to reincarnation because we need to filter, to purify these selfish actions, these actions that are coming from a point of pride, that are not coming from the recognition that we are created by God, and we need to be humble. By incarnation through incarnation, we are refining this. And whatever tendency we found in our present reincarnation, that, by the way, the best reincarnation that we have had so far, whatever tendency we have, we can recognize in ourselves. Oh, I am so prone to react. Someone pushed my buttons very easily. Okay, so that is an area in which I need to work. So definitely there are baggage that we are bringing from previous reincarnations, but we can do something about it in our current reincarnation. We are not dominated by what we did in the past. We can transform that in our present.
Very encouraging and very helpful suggestions. Thank you, Alba. And from Daniel Santos, how can Spiritism reconcile the idea of divine justice with the suffering of innocents in war without lapsing into a passive, it was meant to be fatalism?
Yes, I understand, Daniel, that in Spiritism, right, we think in the law of action and reaction. So whatever action I'm doing in this present time is going to have a reaction or a consequence in the future. And therefore, if people is suffering now, undergoing the horror of war, we are saying under the logic, oh, they probably did something and they deserve that. However, this is not always the truth, because we have free will. So, on one hand, it is possible that a group of people and community, they go through a natural disaster. They suffer together this fatality of war because it's needed for their advancement and their purification, but it's not imposed by God. It's definitely a consequence from the past. Like currently, we didn't take care of the planet, so now we have contamination and all sort of consequences, right? In the other hand, just by saying, oh, so they deserve that, okay, so red flag there, because then we are not developing charity and compassion, right? The fact that someone is suffering in poverty, the fact that someone is struggling with addiction, the fact that someone it is an outcast in the society, it doesn't mean that the person deserves it. It means that I'm going to do everything that is in my hands to assist the person because God's justice will come. But I need to contribute with my action, even if it's a little grain of sand, to create better conditions in the world for all of us. Because today we're here, tomorrow we don't know if we're going to be the beggar in the street, right? Or we don't know if we're going to be the president of some country. We have different internships in different reincarnations. I hope that I answered that question.
That is very good. Thank you very much, Alba, for that. And again, from the U.S. Spiritist Federation, it is difficult to not hear or read of negative news. How do we filter this out without giving up TV, radio, social media?
So interesting because it's almost okay. Everything in balance and everything is relative. But the way I read the question, I don't know who asked the question, is how I'm going to lose weight without giving up my sweets and carbs. We can have sweets and carbs, definitely, but it's with measure. It has to be with measure. So I know people that they say, you know what, by 6 p.m. I put my phone down, and no TV, no screen time for the rest of the night. That's their decision, and that is a way to have some aseptic procedure for our minds and our spirit. So it's about of measure. We need to detach of those screens really and connect more with people and nature. But we do it if we are so many hours with the screen, we need to do like a process of detox, something like that, like almost like we are in rehab, right? It's not like I'm going to cut cold turkey. This just step by step. We can get informed, definitely. That's something that we like to do. We need to know what is going on around the world, but we need to put limits. As we put limits to little children, hopefully we're doing this. You have only 1 hour of screen time per day, something like that. As an adult, we can create that role for us too, and it will help us. And we keep informed, we keep in touch with what is going on in the world, but also in touch with ourselves.
Very helpful. Thank you. And from the Spiritist Society of North Beach, how can we know the effect of our peace vibrations and prayers as an individual?
Wow. Hello, Spiritist Society of North Beach. Um, it's an interesting question. And my first thought is like, we don't know. We don't really know, right? But we will. But we will by how people is treating us around us. We will know by how we feel when we enter a room full of people, when we are going to a workplace, We will know because we feel happy, we feel peaceful, we feel centered. So, this is not something that we are going to see overnight as we start practicing, but we will get to the point. Sometimes we have periods in our lives that are very chaotic, full of problems, challenges, health, etc. Everything happens, someone dies, and we're like, whoo! But then we start calm down, and then we go through periods in our lives like nothing is happening. That nothing is happening, it is a consequence of the mental set that I have. And that nothing is happening is a blessing. The daily life that we have when we wake up and when we say, okay, this was an uneventful day. Oh, we need to bless that day because it was wonderful and peaceful, and we have water and we have food and we have a place to go to work or a place to go to volunteer, and our family members are okay. So that's how we can measure, I think.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much, Alba. And a heartfelt thanks to everyone who joined us for today's live talk, as well as to those who regularly follow our weekly Spiritism talk series. Your continued engagement is truly, truly appreciated. We invite you to join us again next Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for our next live session when Kirsten DeMello will be exploring the topic, A Toolbox for Healing and Victory. We look forward to having you with us. Alba, before we close, would you please share your final remarks and then lead us in the closing prayer?
Absolutely. We all have the power to be peacemakers and co creators of peace. We have a powerful mind, we have free will, and we are intelligent. We can create peace in the world. So I invite all of you to take a comfortable, attentive position, to close your eyes, and to feel the kind and warm embrace of our spirit mentors. The spirit mentors of the U.S. Spiritist Federation, and therefore the embrace of our loving, caring God. And it's with humility that we express our gratitude for these moments of learning together, for this opportunity of growing and developing our moral muscle. We are so very grateful for a community in which we can freely express, in which we can pray and meditate and grow together. And we pray to the Prince of Peace, our beloved Master Jesus, to assist us to be co-creators of peace, to every day wake up with the goal and the mentality of contributing to peace in the world. But help us, because we are just humans. We have our moments of weakness. We have our moments of turmoil. So help us to trust you, trust your grace, and trust in the bigger plan for planet Earth. May your peace be with us and with everybody around us. May your peace be in our planet Earth, today and always, and so be it.